Hello and welcome. In the world of railway engineering, finishing a project is one thing, but proving you did it right, that's a whole other battle. It almost always comes with a giant mountain of paperwork. So in this explainer, we're going to look at the big push to digitize that entire process and see how one company is trying to turn that manual headache into a real professional benchmark.
So let's just start with a really simple question. What is the actual cost of all this client paperwork? I mean, we're not talking about the price of paper and ink, obviously. We're talking about hours. Expensive, highly skilled hours that engineers and project managers are burning on admin when they should be doing what they do best. It's a huge drag on operations, and frankly, it's the perfect target for a digital upgrade. And that leads us right into our first section here, the documentation bottleneck. We're going to dive into the common frustrations that I'm willing to bet a lot of you watching know all too well.
Yeah, I'm sure this slide feels painfully familiar to some folks. This is the manual grind, right? You're trying to pull together all these different reports, certificates, verification docs. Then you're wrestling with formatting, just trying to make it all look consistent. You're double-checking, triple-checking for mistakes, just praying you didn't miss anything. And the whole time, you're chasing down data from 5 different systems. It's slow, it's repetitive, and it is a recipe for human error.
Okay, so how do you get around a bottleneck like that? Well, in our next section, we're going to look at one specific tool designed to do exactly that, the SmartFleet Doc Pack.
So, what is this thing? Well, at its core, the SmartFleet Client PDF Doc Pack is basically a piece of software that's built to automate that whole documentation lifecycle. The big idea is to take the creation, the management, and the delivery of all that project paperwork and just make it digital, from start to finish, specifically for railway maintenance groups.
And the goal here is really a 1-2 punch. First, get rid of all those manual steps we just talked about. Just eliminate them. And second, it's about leveling up your professional game, making sure everything that goes to a client or a stakeholder looks sharp, consistent, and professionally branded.
So that all sounds good in theory, but how does it actually change the day-to-day? In Section 3, we're going to get into the how this kind of approach really transforms the workflow.
This slide really gives you that perfect before and after snapshot. On one side, you've got the old manual process, time-consuming, prone to errors, inconsistent, and totally disconnected. And on the other, you've got the digital promise, automated, accurate, professionally branded, and integrated. It's all about making that shift from chaotic manual effort to streamlined digital control.
So what does this new workflow actually feel like? Well, it breaks down into 4 really simple steps. First, instead of chasing data, the system just pulls it directly from where it already lives, your maintenance and inspection systems. Step 2, a professional template gets applied instantly, so everything is consistent. 3, the whole package just gets generated automatically. All the documents you need, compiled in a snap. And finally, it's all delivered securely, digitally. No more couriers, no more massive email attachments. Okay, that all sounds fantastic on paper. But what about the results? Does it actually work? Let's get into Section 4, the real-world impact. This is where it all gets very real.
I'm just going to put a number up on the screen, 70%. Just let that sink in for a second. What in the world could that possibly represent?
Well, that number is the claimed reduction in documentation prep time, up to 70%. But look, the key thing here isn't just about saving time, it's about what you do with that saved time. The whole point is to get your highly skilled technical people away from paperwork so they can focus on the high-value engineering work you're actually paying them to do. And the benefits just kind of ripple out from there. If you look at this table, you can see how it all connects. Efficiency goes up because projects can close out faster. Accuracy improves because you're taking human error out of the equation. Your professionalism gets a boost, which builds client confidence. And even compliance gets easier because managing all those contractual requirements is just simpler. And hey, this isn't just theory. This is based on feedback from real teams in the UK rail sector. And what was the #1 benefit they reported? A reduced administrative burden for technical staff. It's a direct hit on that core problem we started with. All right, for our final section, let's zoom out a little bit, because a tool like this doesn't really exist in a vacuum. To really get it, you have to see it as part of a much bigger picture. Take a look at this number, 30 plus. What do you think that signifies? That number means this doc pack is just one of over 30 different solutions inside a bigger ecosystem called SmartFleets. So the vision here isn't just to fix one problem. It's about a total digital transformation of railway operations, from maintenance to compliance and everything in between.
And you know, this way of thinking is starting to get some serious recognition. The company behind it was a regional winner in the 2025 ERCI Innovation Awards, and they've also gotten a nod from the University of Birmingham's Rail Innovation Center. And for any new technology, getting that kind of third-party validation, that's a really big deal.
So let's end on this thought. We've just looked at how one single, often overlooked process can be completely transformed with the right digital tools. And that leaves us with a really interesting question. If you can make one process this efficient, what's next for rail operations? And it's not just about what other bottlenecks you can solve. What does this mean for the jobs, the skills, and the business models that are going to shape the entire industry moving forward?